Lithuanian. Welcome to the Caravan Gallery in Derby. Here we are at Format Festival. Come and have a guided tour. So we're here as part of the Flanner new Urban Narratives exhibition. Lovely catalogue here. And upstairs in the building that we're at, Pearson's, there's a whole bunch of, there's a retrospective of all the people involved in the Flanner programme, which involved artists from all over Europe, going to different towns and cities and recording their observations. So Caravan Gallery was invited by Kaunas Photo to spend 3 weeks in Kaunas in Lithuania and to make a museum in an empty sewing factory which was called on Savanora Street, which apparently is a street that nobody wants to be in, but we found it pretty interesting anyway. So this was the building we made our museum in over 3 weeks, and we kick-started it by showing some of our own photos in there, and other people added their own observations of this street. So I said it used to be a sewing factory before. This was the logo that used to hang outside, and it became a bit dangerous. It was kind of hanging there ready to land on somebody's head. So it got rescued and put on the roof of this building. Excuse the crutch, it was a gift off a friend earlier, dedicated to the beloved Caravan Gallery. This was Hendrik's crutch. He's from Finland, and he hurt his foot from looking at too much photography. So what we did was we recorded our observations of Kaunas, of this particular street, and we noticed that there were lots of people walking around holding flowers. So we've got someone on a bus here with a bunch of lilac. We've got dandelions here, so it's all free flowers. People do buy them, but we thought it was just really quite charming. And Chris has just been picking dandelions for the caravan. We're being a bit Lithuanian today. And so anyway, the Caravan Gallery is here to show some of the other work we made while we were doing our residency. So one of the things we noticed that the people seem to dress to harmonise with the buildings. So a great example of this is, well, any of these pictures here, you'll see that there's this colour palette of neutral tones. We've got beiges and peaches and browns and tans. Now and again people are a bit outrageous and they might wear something fluorescent, but they stand out a bit. Over here, we particularly like this shot where a woman seems to be blending with the fence behind. This was on a bus ride. There's frequent trolley buses up and down Savanora Street. So that's another interesting thing too, because we don't normally work in a square format, but because the pictures we were taking were destined to go in these photo cubes for an outdoor exhibition, they had to be cropped square, so we thought we'd try a new approach for our exhibition in the caravan. What can I show you next? So, talking about the cubes, here's an example of one of the cubes that was in an outdoor space in the old town in Kaunas. So there were, was it 4 artists perhaps, including Hendrik, who donated his crutch to the Caravan Gallery. So Procurate, which was the Portuguese organisation that commissioned all the different flaneurs in the various European countries, they chose maybe a dozen or so photos from each artist. So the dandelion woman was one of them. So this is the building, this is the room we were given to create an exhibition in. So we had 2 adjoining rooms, and one of them we started off, we kicked off with an exhibition of our own photos, the idea being that people would be inspired to think about how they felt about Kaunas. This room here is the evolving part of the exhibition, like as we do with our Pride of Place projects in the UK. So it started off empty apart from a large hand-drawn map, and people added to it throughout the residency. So we had, trouble is we couldn't read half of the stuff because it was in Lithuanian, but we had where the caretaker fell in love, that went on there. So you'll see people brought in old books, magazines, family photos. This was particularly interesting. There used to be a business in this this kind of factory building where they'd screen printed cushion covers. So we rescued this from a bin, and we love the way this woman seems, she's made up to be handling her cockatiels, and this fella seems less enamoured of them. These are more things that we found just lying around in the building. So because I used to do a lot of collage, I was particularly attracted to these. Lots of books that are printed in Russian, because we learned such a lot about the culture in Lithuania, because it's only got its independence in 1991. So that really coloured people's attitude. We were asking questions about where they lived. A lot of the older people tended to be a bit more guarded because they remembered times when they were less free. Younger people were a bit more cosmopolitan, and they spoke English, which made it easier for us. Some of the other things we noticed was the Lithuanian plumbing. We could easily make an exhibition all about the drain pipes of Lithuania. And again, this beautiful colour palette, and somehow perhaps that works, I'm not quite sure. This was a former fountain from the Soviet era that had been abandoned, so just the kind of thing that caught our eye. Something else I particularly enjoyed was these quite beaten up letterboxes, and this, we think it's a cat, but someone came in yesterday and told us they think it's a llama. So this smiling expression appears all over the city, and we like it because it just makes us grin every time we see it. These doorbells caught our eye too. Maybe they work, maybe they don't, but at least they look interesting. And Chris found this really sinister frog. I don't know if it's art or a bin or some kind of advertising or whatever. So answers on a postcard, please. So this was another character, another person we noticed walking up and down Savanora Street, and he was the gentleman with a cart full of cardboard, and we think he probably collected it to make cash money with. Again, this is the outside of our museum. So a few more examples of people blending with their surroundings. No one seemed to linger for long in Savanora Street because it was a bit of a transit street between the old town and the airport. So there were dogs in a hurry, purposeful striding, pigeons in a hurry, wedding shops with crumbling balconies above. And this was quite an unusual sight. I'm not entirely sure why it's there, but we found out a lot about, well, there was quite a significant Jewish population at one time, and sadly, well, rather terribly, the Jewish people were exterminated from Kaunas. So I hope you've enjoyed your tour of Kaunas, and so I think we're the official tour Kaunas or Lithuanian tourist board in Derby.
Is the caravan always used like this?
It's unusual to, it's quite strange to be in Derby with a selection of photos from Lithuania, because we'd usually show photos from wherever we are. Before we came here, we did a residency in Nottingham, in Sneinton. So down here we have some pictures some we prepared earlier. So these are from our extraordinary exhibition, which was a touring show working in partnership with galleries and museums all over the UK. So shoplifters will be prostituted. That's a bit of signage from the Barrows Market in Glasgow. That's in Hull, City of Culture this year. What else have we got? That's Southend, wish you were here. So we use the caravan in different ways. Essentially it's a mobile gallery space and a social club on wheels. And what happens is we'll go to a place, do a bit of a recce, and make an exhibition about the place that we're in. Sometimes we might concentrate on themes. Here just happens to be a religious garden, a Jesus hedge in Bradford. But we were inspired to involve other people in our work because we put our observations of places we went to on the wall, and then visitors would come along and say, oh, do you know how that got there, and do you know who did this, that and the other? So it becomes a dialogue. So we set up pride of place projects to involve other people, and they are kind of part exhibition, part alternative tourist information centre. But we're very proud of this book in quite caravanic yellow. It's called Extraordinary because we feel that ordinary everyday life is pretty extraordinary, because you just don't know what you're going to find next, do you? So this, I can't remember how many pictures are in, but there's some of our favourite pictures from all over Britain in here, including Dr. Hotfingers with a K that we met in Lytham St Anne's. There he is. It's a nice day for Hammond organs today, out there. So, yeah, people keep asking where we're going to go next. It depends where we get invited, really. But Lithuania was really exciting because it was somewhere new and different for us. So I think someone mentioned going to Singapore yesterday. That sounds good. Yeah, there's lots. Anyway, nice, lovely to be in Derby talking about Lithuania and to be part of Format Festival. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.